everybody, this is the video y'all have been waiting for, because it is about the books of BEA. Oh yeah. Seeing as this is a publishing convention, books are bound to be involved. The great thing is that you're going to get a lot of them, and they are going to be ones that you love. But I do have some advice. So, first and foremost, especially if this is your first year, it is so easy to go crazy and get everything you see. I am only just doing on audiobook The Daughter of Smoke and Bone, which I got as an ARC when I went the first year in 2011. It's been a long time. I still have ARCs from that first year I haven't read. I have ARCs from the second year I've gone that I haven't read, and they just sit nicely and signed on a shelf. I got way too many books. Shipping them home isn't exactly easy that way either. So I highly suggest you make your schedule, you find the ones that you really want, you make sure you try and get them, and then anything else be kind of judgmental about. Look at the book and think, okay, this sounds like a really awesome book. Am I actually going to get around to reading it? If not, maybe not take it. Totally up to you, man. Totally up to you. But this is what I found has worked for me. Being very choosy doesn't always work. But it is a good thing to try and do. And it also cuts down your cost if you're shipping your books back. Because, yeah, books are heavy. You are going to get pretty much 3 types of books while at BEA. You are going to get your sampler books. So these are going to be very small books that give a couple of chapters of sample of upcoming books. Then you're going to get your advanced readers. They're the second type of book you're going to have there. A lot of time these are going to be the ones, of course, that they do the galley drops off, which, you know, they are galleys, so they do the drops and it makes sense. Sometimes these are going to be the ones that the authors are actually signing. A lot of times especially. It happens. I mean, and a lot of times they are the most amazing books anyway. It's all good. Then you have your third type of books, and these are going to be your finished copies. Whether it's paperback, because the paperback has just recently or will be coming out shortly, or the hardcover because it has either recently or will be coming out shortly. So those are your books. And they are either going to be in booth or in the autographing area. Now, for the books, they aren't exactly free. I mean, I'm talking aside from the fact that all of us have pretty much paid for our passes. That's, yeah, not what I'm talking about. But in the autographing area, they do have donation boxes, and it's recommended that you donate money for each book you pick up. I try and donate, a couple dollars a day. No one's forcing you to do this. You don't have to do this, but it's like a courtesy that you donate at least a few dollars for the books that you're getting. Doesn't have to be a few dollars per book, because if you get a lot of books, that's going to be a lot of money. But a few dollars in general. It's just the nice thing to do. Then we get to the books in the galley drops and the books that are available at the publishing company's booths. So there are going to be piles of books. People are going to be rushing for some of these books. Please, unless you ask someone who works in the actual booth, only take 1 copy for yourself. If you are picking up legitimately a second copy for someone who is on the exhibit floor and is like holding your spot in line or something like that, that's fine. But if you're picking up a second copy to give to a friend at home, to give away as a giveaway on your blog or your channel or whatever, or to donate to something, ask. Chances are the answer is going to be yes. It's a given. They want to promote these books, especially with the galleys. But ask. Ask, especially if it's a really popular book, because it's going to be in high demand. A lot of people are going to want it, and if you take 3, that means 2 other people who were actually there and paid to be there aren't going to get this book that they really wanted. That's just a common courtesy. Always ask if you're going to take more than 1, and if you are going to take more than 1, please try and only take 1 extra. And don't make a big habit of it. Don't be an asshole. Don't be that asshole and do that. Okay? There is a slight loophole to this. So on the third day, which is now going to be slightly different because BookCon has become rather huge. Usually on the third day of the convention, which is this year the Saturday, it's going to be the day where the publishing companies are trying to get rid of all of the extra books they have because they don't want to have to take them back. This is going to be your ideal time to pick up a second or maybe even a third copy of a book, especially if it's not a popular book that a lot of people haven't wanted. But the third day is going to be where it's a little better for you to take that second copy, even without necessarily asking. But always ask. Then it comes down to this. You cannot bring your own books to get signed. I will in a later video tell you where you can bring your own books to get signed, but it is not Javits for the Book Expo. No. Don't bring anything with you to get signed. I know you're probably going to want to. The exceptions maybe if you bring like an autographing book. That is different. You can probably get an autographing book and signed by a whole bunch of authors, and that's cool. The whole point of the Book Expo is to promote the books from this year and get them out in the world a little more. So books from previous years are no. So what are you going to do with all of these books when you get them? That's a good question. There are options at the Expo. In years past, they've had both UPS and FedEx within the building. FedEx, personally, I looked into it, a lot more expensive. Granted, I am shipping from New York to Canada, so it's going to be more expensive. UPS, I found, was the better option from within Javits. They generally set up in a big room in the basement. You go, you get a box, you put your name on the box, and you cross your fingers that there aren't any assholes in the group of all of us that's going to go into your box and dishonestly steal something that you got. I don't know why someone would do this. It's really rude, but I've heard that it has happened on occasion in the past because people can be assholes. Tips I have for the UPS section within Javits: bring your own marker or pen, something. Write your name all over your box. You want to make sure people know it's yours. And if you have a group of friends that's with you, try and get your boxes together. I know it sounds kind of weird, but at least if they're together, multiples of you are going to be going there throughout the day and dropping off books. So it's a better chance of kind of catching people if they are going through your boxes. Because if you know the people directly around you, you're going to be able to keep an eye on them when you go to drop stuff off at your own box. Right? When you're actually packing your box, I would suggest unpacking everything you've shoved into it over the 3 days and repacking it and pad the shit out of that box. Try and make the orientation of your books going all the same way. I've personally found that's the easiest way to not get any of my books ruined. And with with the Book Expo, you're going to get a lot of like tote bags and t-shirts and stuff. Put them in the box as well and use them to like make sure your books aren't going to shift at all, because we do not like ruined books. So that's if you're shipping directly from Javits to your home. You also have the option, depending of course on your mode of transportation to and from New York and your house, you can bring a suitcase to Javits. They have a luggage check, and throughout the day you can go and drop off your books into your suitcase, thereby at the end of the day taking them to wherever you're staying, unloading them, bringing your suitcase back the next day, and then finding your own way to get them home. My guess would be in your suitcase. One more thing about the baggage check too. There are people watching it, which is always a bonus, of course, because they have to handle like the check numbers and they take you to your bag and stuff. But like UPS, there have been instances where people have gone into other people's bags. Once again, I don't know why someone would do this because it just makes them a huge asshole. But it has happened. So if you're really worried about that, but you want to do the baggage check, you could always invest in a small lock to put on your suitcase just for extra added security. Personally, I've never had a problem with it, and I have done the baggage check before, but you know, it only takes one person. There is also the option because there is a bus directly from Javits that's going to go to all the hotels, but there's the one that goes directly to Penn Station as its first stop, usually. Anyway, directly across from Penn Station is the 24-hour post office, which is awesome. And huge. It's huge. You can't miss it. They, of course, have the flat rate boxes from either within Canada. I believe there's international options, but there's definitely an option to Canada. So for a flat fee, you can stuff as many books as you want into these boxes, and you just pay the flat fee. Finally, yes, shipping is going to be expensive. Sadly, it's just the way it is. But as long as you go into it expecting that, I know I've had boxes that were between 50 and 60 pounds, and it was roughly $90 to $100 to ship home. That's including all the border charges and stuff like that for Canada. It is, of course, going to be cheaper if you're staying within the United States. But just keep that in mind. It's another reason why it's a good thing to only pick up books you really, really want, because it's going to be a lot easier and a lot cheaper to ship them all home. Okay, that's it. I really hope that with editing I can make this video a lot shorter than it's showing on my screen right now. But there was a lot of information in this one. So let me know if you're going. I can't wait to see you guys. And until then, happy reading.